I think we're streaming. Yes. Good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. If you live in the United Kingdom right now, or Europe, or the world, or do you know what? Maybe you don't live in the world. Maybe you're in an alternate dimension. I know some of you identify as alternate dimensional beings. Listen, guys, last year there was a lot of fires in the United Kingdom, and one of the things we said on this channel is, look, guys, I can't confirm this is sabotage, but my speculation would be that this is sabotage. Well, it turns out all those conspiracy theorists were right, you know, with the tinfoil hats on and people saying, oh, but Sean, it was just the fire. It was just the fire. Sean, fires break out, you know, chill out. Well, it turns out, I'm going to read from an article from Sky News, and let me know in the comments if this is something like that we were talking about. Excuse me. 3 men found guilty of arson attack for Russian mercenaries on Ukraine-linked warehouse in London. We spoke about this, guys, many, many times. We spoke about this. Around £1 million of damage was caused by the blaze at an industrial estate in Leighton that was supplying Starlink satellite equipment to Ukraine. So remember when these fires started to happen, it was like, right, okay, ladies and gentlemen, what is the outcome of this? What is actually in these storage facilities? Turns out we were all right, you know, and all those people who are saying, it's just a fire, you know, fires happen. Well, it turns out not in this case. Right, let me continue. 3 men have been found guilty of the attack on a London warehouse linked to Ukraine on behalf of the Wagner Group. Now, they're saying that this Wagner Group, or Wagner Group, sorry, as it's pronounced in Russian, they're saying that this Wagner Group is the word that begins with T and ends in ist. I don't think it is one of those, but look, we'll just go with it. Around £1 million, £1 million, £1 million of damage was caused by the blaze at an industrial estate. The Starlinks are often used by the Ukrainian military in its fight against Russia following a full-scale invasion in 2022. I'll just read you these guys' names, guys, okay? I don't know how to pronounce this. N-I-I. It sounds like a Nintendo Wii attachment. So, Ni Menshah, 23, Jacqueline Rose, and Uganis Azmina. So they're the gentlemen that have been, I think, have they been accused? Or, no, they've been the gentlemen that have found guilty of this. So these 3 gentlemen, guys, you know, they have now been found guilty of these arson attacks. How many times have I said that this is the new war? This is the new method of war. This is the new method to strike your enemies. So when people are saying, Sean, are we going to get attacked in the United Kingdom? Sean, are we going to get this? Are we going to get that? Yes, of course, they could have sent a big missile over, and that missile could have done X, Y, and Z, or they could just pay these 3 kids, and they are kids, guys. I'm looking at them now. They're pictures, especially the one on the right, Nai Menshah. He looks like he needs to go to the toilet, but nobody's let him, and he still looks like he wants to be a gangster. He's like this. But anyway, so these 3 kids have set fire to this storage depot that was holding Starlink computer systems for Ukraine. This is what I believe is a sign of things to come. This is what I believe is prompting the government to start this, the home guard that they're talking about. Look, guys, listen, I will come on to the comments in a second. Right, in fact, do you know what? Not in a second. I'll come on to them right now. Right, good evening all, good evening Karen, Alan, Ads, we got so many people, Geraldine, Alan B, I'm very good my friend indeed, April E saying evening, Alan B, sorry I send you too many protests. Guys, guys, listen, I please keep sending me your stuff, okay? I do respond to every message that I get sent. May take me a while to respond to you guys, because I do get quite a lot of messages, but I will respond to every one of your messages, and thank you so much for that you guys are sending it me. Daniel Payne is saying, hey Raven, what's happening? Listen, I'm leading with this today, guys, okay? 3 men found guilty of arson attack on a Ukraine-linked warehouse in London. Remember at the time, I can remember doing videos on this at the time and saying, look, guys, I can't confirm that this is sabotage. I can't because, you know, unless it's out on the mainstream media, I can't confirm it. And people, I remember very specifically people in the comments saying, oh, Sean, fires break out all the time. It's just the fire. And I was thinking, all right, let's see what happens. Turns out 3 men have been found guilty of working for the Russian Wagner group. Kevin is saying, hey, mate. Moo Scamoo is saying good evening all. Daniel Payne, I'm in the Sims game identity as Boris Johnson's son. Googly is saying, Sean, Apple is now watching people through FaceTime calls. Googly, I would speculate that has been happening for a long time. And you know what? I would say it's not actually Apple that's watching. Well, I guess it would be. Depends what you mean by Apple. I would say algorithms, AI is watching. Every time you've got a camera on your phone, if you've got a camera, like I've got webcams, I'm sure you've got webcams on your phone, whatever devices you guys have got, I would speculate that AI is watching at every opportunity. Coral Reefin is saying hello. Danny Boy is saying, hi Sean, just got some more information. The Tic Tac UFO was made by Lockheed Martin, not Alien. Right, hang on, are we going down the aliens route, guys? Are we going down the aliens route? Because listen, I, more than anyone, I'm always up for going down the aliens route. I am, guys. I'm always up for talking about aliens. Yeah, so there is some news circling at the moment that, remember the Tic Tac UFOs? People are claiming that these are Lockheed Martin. Oh, where did that comment go? Yeah, people are claiming that these Tic Tac UFOs are from Lockheed Martin, not Alien. The thing I'll say on that, guys, right? The thing I'll say on that is, if this is from Lockheed Martin, or human technology, why has that not been exploited commercially? Like, why is it not being, like, why is there not an aircraft that is, why are we still flying around in airplanes if there's something as efficient as that Tic Tac? So I don't know, guys. Maybe it is Lockheed Martin. Maybe it's fake news to try and put people off the scent. I genuinely don't know. What I will say is, I do think a lot of these, a lot of these UFOs, these UAPs that people see, I do think a lot of them are military. But again, you've got to look at the guy, David. What was his name? David Fravor, the Air Force guy. I would say he would know whether this is operating on unknown physics. Again, look, maybe Lockheed are operating on unknown physics. We genuinely don't know. James is saying the emergency alarm going off at September the 7th at 3 p.m. Even if you switch your phone alerts off. Yeah, this happens in Ukraine. So when in other countries, I guess, when you go to Ukraine, as soon as you cross the border, if there's an air attack in your location, your phone goes, and it's quite intimidating when you first hear it. JB is saying updates. Listen, I am going to give you guys an update in a minute. I've not checked, but the courtrooms will be closed now in Liverpool Crown Court. I will give you guys an update. Look, guys, I think it was somebody tagged me. Somebody tagged me in a message. Somebody tagged me in a thread on TikTok. About this incident about this Manchester airport thing. Like, is anybody under any illusion now? I mean, I said this to one of my friends in Texas, and he's like, Sean, how are those people, like, if that had have happened in Texas, how do you think that, what do you, like, guys, listen, what do you think the outcome would have been if the Manchester airport incident happened in Texas? Like, I said it to a couple of my friends that are in Texas, and like, hey, Sean, what's wrong with your police, man? They not got a pair. So I will be giving an update on the Manchester airport, but I was tagged in, I can't remember who it was who tagged me, but I clicked on it. And the comments, ladies and gentlemen, the comments from what I can only describe as Pakistanis are unbelievable and absolutely terrifying. Anyway, guys, well, let me come on. I will be giving an update on that. I'm Kevin Baker. I do meets and greets everywhere. I also sell merch. I'm more famous than Diddy. Hello, Kevin Baker, who's more famous than Diddy. Welcome. I'm excellent, Kevin. I'm happy for you. Cheryl Jarvis is saying, good evening, beautiful souls. Thank you, Cheryl. I feel like I needed that this afternoon. Our eldest girl, she's going through a little bit of a mood at the moment. She's been very sassy, but do you know what? It's all part of growing up. Mark Hardman, I've seen a video about Trump saying he's not happy about Putin. I said, what you going to do then? Yeah, I mean, look, we knew this was coming. We knew all along that any peace negotiations. Well, we speculated, didn't we? We don't know anything because I don't have a time machine. We speculated that the most likely event would be that Vladimir Putin would kind of ignore Donald Trump, which is what's happening. Lee Smith is saying, evening, right, guys, listen, I'm going to jump down. I've got the chat up, and I apologize. All right, I'm jumping down because I'm conscious I'm just waffling some of the comments, and a lot of the comments have gone down. My friend just sent me a picture of his left leg. That sounds weird, I know, but he's had a problem with his right leg, and he's had an operation, and his left leg's like ridiculously muscly now. Anyway, let me jump up. Right. I've been watching you for ages, Raven. Remember my plans to invade China? Kevin, Kevin, listen, Kevin, I can't remember your plans to invade China, no. But I hope you will share them with me again. Yeah. Okay. Right, guys. Let's worry about. Let's see what Kevin comes back with. Z-Tech Rito Lou is saying, what extra precautions should school be taking, if any? All right. Good question. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys. I will always prioritize questions like this. Okay. Danny boy. I'll come on to that next. Yeah, definitely. Right. It's very difficult at the moment, guys. If you're a school, I think schools are ridiculously vulnerable. Anywhere that there's a lot of children are ridiculously vulnerable. If you guys can remember a couple of months ago where there was an incident in Sheffield and a young boy was transcended to a beam of light? You guys know what I'm talking about. After that, there was lots of threats to schools, people phoning up schools saying and this did happen. It was on the mainstream media. So what I see happening is this continuing, these people phoning up and saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. What that is there for, that is just to wear those schools down. So initially, they may take precautions. The first week, they may take precautions. The police may have an increased patrol schedule around that school or whatever. When they keep phoning up from different mobile phones, different burner phones, I mean, you can get a little burner phone from the supermarket for 20 quid or something, and you throw it away once you've made one phone call. These things, once you keep doing the threats, then when the security drops because people are sick of the threat and nothing ever comes, that's when I see the incident happening, because then you get the double collateral. You get people saying, oh, they were warned, the school was warned, but the police did nothing. The school was warned, but the police did nothing. And in that way, you get more collateral, you get more social collateral with that. So what precautions, if any, should school be taking? So is the question. Sorry, let me pin this again. Sorry, because I went off topic there. Okay, you've got to look at sustainability, guys. Okay, like any security scenario, you've got to look at sustainability. All right, so it's all well and good putting, all the teachers out on the gates, and you've got private security. It's not sustainable. What I would say a reasonable thing to do, home time and in the morning and in the afternoon, I would say you have a teacher on each gate, watching the kids in and watching the kids out. I don't think realistically you can do any more than that without spending an absolute fortune. And I know what people are thinking, oh, but Sean, that cost comes into everything, guys. And at school level, remember, guys, okay, you've got to make it sustainable. So extra precautions schools should be taking, if any. I would say all schools, guys, should have a teacher on all access and egress points. And that is it. Where do you stop it, guys? Where do you stop it with the security? That's what I would say. And if your school isn't doing that, then, I would have serious questions. Right, let me jump up because Danny Boy had a comment. Let me find it. Right, Danny Boy, yes. Interstellar object. Where is it? An interstellar object has entered our solar system, and NASA don't know what it is, and it's going fast. Yeah. So there is. I've actually got it up here. So right, guys, listen. I'm genuinely all this craziness that's happening. Who would be surprised if the government came out and said, yeah, and you know what? Aliens are on the way as well. Right, guys, listen, when you're putting things right, hang on. Right, Kevin, okay, can you just be careful with your language, mate? Okay, I know you're talking to people in the chat, all right, but guys, look, please be careful with your language, all right, because that could be very inflammatory there, and essentially I get it in the neck, all right. So Kevin, all right, be very careful with your language, mate. I'm not going to block anyone for bantering or whatever, or just being weird, but please just be careful with your language, because if you put something that's rude, if something that's offensive, I will have to mute you. But anyway, where's that comment going from, Danny Boy? Sorry. Right, there we are. Let me pin this again. Right, so the comment is, guys, if you're watching, quite a few comments on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, there is an interstellar object it's entered our solar system, and it's going a lot faster than it should be going. That is the reality, what we know at the moment. So I'm just going to jump over here, guys, okay? Scientists spot mystery object believed to come from beyond our solar system. Astronomers say the object could be further evidence that interstellar wanderers are common in our galaxy. It isn't a bird, it isn't a plane, it certainly isn't Superman, but it does appear to be a visitor from beyond our solar system, according to astronomers. So what you've got right now, guys, is this thing. It's in our solar system. It's from outside our solar system, and it's going a lot faster. And it's going a lot faster than it's going a lot faster than it should be going. Now, look, guys, in the tongue of my cheek, I've been talking about this, and I've been saying, right, how far-fetched would it be? Realistically, guys, how far-fetched would it be if the government just said, yeah, we've got this object, it's heading towards Earth, and we think it's aliens? I don't know, guys. And I watched, this is going to be a bit wild. When was the last time you watched Independence Day? You know the movie with Will Smith that was 96 or whatever? When was the last time you watched Independence Day? I watched it the other night. I don't know if it was on Netflix or something. I watched it. It might have been on terrestrial TV. I watched Independence Day the other day with Will Smith, and we're like prime Will Smith. That movie is packed with esoteric symbolism. Don't believe me? Don't believe me? Go and watch it again, guys. Go and watch that movie again. It is crammed with esoteric symbolism. And I was thinking, right? Just hear me out. If you wanted to get a generation of people ready for an alien invasion round about 2030, what you would need to get those people who will be in charge into a certain way of thinking. So of course you're going to show them Independence Day in 96, knowing that when those kids grow up, they're going to be the guys in charge. They're going to be the guys making those decisions. Listen, absolutely, absolutely crammed with esoteric symbolism. Unbelievable. Right, let me jump up and get some more of these comments. Cryptic Demon is saying, do you believe Russia will attack a NATO? Excuse me. I'm a little bit parched. Let me pin this. Cryptic Demon, do you believe Russia will attack NATO to distract? Right. It's a difficult question. I don't think those two are related. I'm not convinced. Look, guys, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I'm not convinced that there's any, I'm not convinced there's any benefit in China invading Taiwan. It makes no sense to me. Absolutely no sense. If I was in charge of China, I wouldn't do anything. I would let everybody fight everything out. I'd say, right, you're gonna fight them, are you? Right, okay, good. You two are gonna fight each other. Yeah, good. Destroy your economies. Get rid of all your get rid of all your workforce, and then I'm just growing and growing and growing. So I don't really like. Right now, anyway, as I'm doing this video, if I see more movement round about 2020, at the back end of 2026, we'll start talking about that differently. But at the moment, I don't see the equity in doing that. Now, the other question: do I think Russia will attack a NATO country? I think that's what it was. I would say there's no reason why they wouldn't. I've given my top pick, and I think if there's any country that is going to get attacked by the Russians, I would speculate, and this is my opinion, guys, okay? I would say it is Poland. Now, the reason I'm saying Poland is because I don't believe that these F-16s that are, the F-16s, how they were gifted to Ukraine. One of the first things I said when this was happening, I said, right, okay, where are these F-16s going to be flown from? Who's going to be providing the servicing? And why are those airfields not just going to get blown up by the Russians? Well, I would speculate. So I'm speculating now, guys, okay? I would speculate that those F-16s are being flown from Poland. That is what I would say, guys. And listen, that's just my own opinion. I've got no inside information on that, only other than my analysis, what I've just told you there. So if that is true and that's happening, why wouldn't that be a fair, why wouldn't that be a fair strike, guys? Why wouldn't that be a fair strike for the Russians just to take out those airfields? And remember how everybody's like, look, guys, I've had this before. When I tell people, about this, and they say, "Oh, but Sean, that would be a NATO Article 5 issue. That would be a NATO Article 5 issue." And I'm like, right, okay, guys, look, NATO Article 5 means nothing. Jay Pucci, thank you so much for all the gifts, Jay Pucci. Jay Pucci just thrown a load of gifts, guys. Thank you so much, Jay Pucci. And Darren, and guys, thank you to all you guys gifting. We've got Missy D, Pink Lady, Jody, Sharon Owen, Dimugen X, J Pucci, Darren, Frank, I'm butchering this name. Frank the Ninja Pug sent gifts as well. Right, guys, give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. I need a second, because I want to give you guys a live update on the Manchester 2. Because this is going to affect all of us. everybody I know is watching this case. People are looking at this case and saying, these guys need like 15, 20 years. Look, guys, I'm not a legal expert. That's anecdotally. Right, let me jump up and get these comments. Manchester, what do we search for? Manchester. No, nothing really, which is, I mean, this thing should be like, why isn't this all over the news at the moment, guys? This really should be all over the news. Let me have a look at the mainstream. Oh, we've got an update from 4 hours ago. We've got an update from 4 hours ago. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this. What happened? What's the update 4 hours ago? Manchester Airport PC was professional during the brawl. And police firearms officer who allegedly assaulted. Sorry, I forgot how to read again. A police firearms officer allegedly assaulted by two brothers at Manchester Airport has told a jury his behaviour on the day of the incident was professional. That's gonna inflame, isn't it? That's gonna inflame a lot of the. I mean, there are people protesting outside Manchester. Liverpool Crown Court, guys. I don't know if you know this or not. I'm not sure if they're there today, but they were there yesterday. You've got people outside Manchester, Liverpool Crown Court waving Palestinian flags. I'm thinking, like, what are you protesting against? Are you like pro attacking police officers? Like, I don't like. Where are you going with this? What are you protesting? A police, yeah, we've done that. Mohammed. I mean, listen, he's got, yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at a picture of him now. Mohammed Ahmad, 20, and Mohammed Ahmad, 26, are said to have struck out at police officers. Right, they're not giving us anything new here. They're not giving us anything new. Right, Imran Khan, which is the KC, I think that's that, like the, I don't know what KC stands for. I think it's like King's Counsel or something. I don't know. It's basically, I think it means they're a barrister. Defending Mr. Ad said it was his case that Mr. PC Marsden made a series of mistakes, some or all which were not in accordance with your police training. This is unbelievable, guys. I knew that, like, this is like... Like, you know, when you do training, right? When you do training, you can't train for every scenario. Popular contrary belief, you cannot train for every scenario. Right, today's exercise, guys, is we're going to go into a room and we're going to deal with the situation. What's going to be the situation? The situation is there's a man in a wheelchair and he's got a plastic ball, but it's really heavy and he's throwing it at you. We're going to do all day on that. Yeah, got it. Right, yeah. What's the next day we're going to do? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So what they do is, like, when you're doing this training, you will do different scenarios. You'll do continuation training. Unlikely scenarios. While cross-examining PC Marsden. So this is from today, guys, because this is the first day that the firearms officers got cross-examined. While cross-examining PC Marsden, he said, this ultimately resulted in your conduct falling below the professional standards required of a police officer. Unbelievable. And you used unlawful force against him, leaving him to defend himself. So he had to defend himself. Oh, so poor guy. So the police officer, like, did this guy say this with a straight face? Like, right, so he's gone in there, right? You know, this guy allegedly is throwing hands, he's throwing headbutts, you know, and It was all self-defense. It was self-defense because the police officers' boots weren't tied up in accordance with, and he was like, oh, those boots are not laced properly. Rah! I don't know. Mr. Khan said, you were in all three of you. You were in all three of you and held on Mr. Amaz, which rendered your actions unlawful because the force was because three people made the arrest, that force was unjustified. So now, guys, if there's somebody out there and he's like, you know, and like he's kicking off and I don't know, maybe he's Muslim or whatever, you're not allowed to use three officers to arrest him. You've got to use one officer. I mean, what's next, guys? Does the police officer have to come in and say, right, take all my kit off, we're going one-on-one? Do you know what, Mr. KC Khan? That is not how arresting works. Believe me, when I was in the military, we would use 4 guys to arrest 1 guy every time. Why would you bother going one-on-one? It's ridiculous. Mr. Khan said you went in, all 3 of you, and held on Mr. Amaz, who rendered your actions unlawful because the force was you were squeezing his poor little wrists too hard. Unbelievable. Jurors heard that PC Marsden has served Greater Manchester Police for about 5 years, following a spell as a special constable with Lancashire Constabulary. The officer had regular duties at the airport as an authorised firearms officer. Mr. Khan asked him, as far as you are personally concerned, how would you characterise your performance as a police officer in general? Fair play to Mr. Marsden. Fair play to him. He said, professional. You know what? Fair play to him. Mr. Khan said, in relation to the events we are dealing with, how would you assess your performance as a police? Right, I'm repeating the question again. Mr. Khan said, having looked at the CCTV, do you consider there were any aspects of your performance that fell below the standards required of a police officer that day? Mr. Marsden said no. I think that's fair, guys. I think that's fair. I really do. I'm not going to read the whole article. I might come and read it later. That's the first time I'm reading that. So what we can see, ladies and gentlemen, from the Manchester trial, they're trying to say that because 3 officers went to arrest this gentleman, that was excessive use of force, which gave Mohammed the right to attack the police officers. That's what they're claiming. That's not me. That's not me, guys. Okay, that is not me. That's what I'm reading from the BBC. So there we have it, guys. You know, if you get arrested, if you're kicking off and any more than 3 police officers come to arrest you, you're allowed to throw hands at them. That's, apparently that's the new law. Right, I need to turn that off because I'm triggering myself. Aliens! Let's talk about aliens, interstellar travel. Let's talk about the potential of the Anunnaki coming in 2030, 2027. I don't know what year they're going to get here, but I do think there's something very peculiar about the asteroid Apophis that is heading towards Earth, and it's going to make its closest flyby on Friday the 13th of April, 2029, I think it is. Now that to me is just screaming out danger. It's absolutely, it's absolutely terrifying. Right, let me jump up here, guys, okay? Right, the Bismarck here is saying, do you remember when you said World War II was bound to start last April? So just to clarify, Bismarck, World War II started in like 1939. That was like quite a few years ago. I mean, some people could argue it started in 1936 with the Spanish Civil War, but yeah, I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it there. Right, guys, listen, there's so many comments I'm struggling here. Nuts Girl is saying, do you reckon the police will stand together on this? I don't okay, so this incident in Manchester Airport, for me, it's cut and shut. It's absolutely cut and shut. There is no defense for these guys who attack the police officers. Look, I understand, well, where do I go with this? I understand that we have a massive amount of, perceived two-tier policing. And people are genuinely worried that the police will, the police will lock them up for something where they wouldn't lock other people up. In this instance that I'm talking about now, guys, the Manchester airport instance, like looking at the footage, that guy's wild. He's throwing hands, he's throwing feet, it's unbelievable. I mean, how do we think that would have happened, guys? How would we think, how would we think the police in America would have dealt with that? James in saying NASA, yeah, right. Okay, James, I was talking the other night, we was talking about this in the house. Yeah. So guys, listen, like I don't know why this is not front page news everywhere, right? I don't know why this is not front page news everywhere. There's an asteroid, a big one, heading towards Earth. As James was rightly saying, it's called Apophis. It will miss Earth by 19,600 miles. And James is saying, I don't believe NASA. Look, guys, if you understand, if you guys have done any research on space exploration, asteroids, this 19,000 miles, it's nothing, guys. It's nothing in celestial terms. Just for context, this asteroid that's coming, said Earth 8-ball, we have satellites that hang on, guys, my TikTok's swizzling. Am I back on? I do not know. Guys, am I back on? I don't know if I'm on. I may be streaming. I may not be streaming on TikTok. Yes, I'm on. Right. Okay. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Thank you, guys, for letting me know. Yes. So, guys, listen. So this asteroid, all right, this asteroid that's heading towards Earth, Apophis, it's supposed to come close to Earth by 19,600 kilometers. Now, to put that in context, we have satellites orbiting Earth that are going to be higher up than this asteroid. So this asteroid, it's going to squizzle underneath satellites. Now, does that sound safe to you guys? To me, it doesn't sound safe at all. It sounds unbelievable. Hang on. Magic 8-ball, the giver of truth. Magic 8-ball, the giver of eternal truth. Will Apophis, the asteroid, strike Earth on the 13th of April, 2029? Hang on. Oh, no doubt about it. The 8-ball has spoken, ladies and gentlemen. The 8-ball has spoken. No doubt about it. Wasn't there a song by like that? So nobody's talking about this asteroid, guys. And we're all worrying about the governments and the Epstein list, but we literally have something heading towards us that has the ability to not only send us back to the Stone Age. I mean, are we really smarter than the dinosaurs? Right, let me jump up and get some facts about Apophis, actually. You guys have got me onto aliens. Apophis asteroid is a near-Earth asteroid that caused initial concern due to a small but non-zero chance of impacting with Earth in 2029. However, further observations have ruled out any impact risk for at least the next 100 years. Royal Museum of Greenwich, European Space Agency, that doesn't make sense. It will, however, make a very close approach on Friday, the 13th of April, 2029, closer than many satellites. That doesn't sound right to me, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we all need to be preparing for, guys. That is what we're preparing for, guys, okay? It's unbelievable. It's terrifying. It's absolutely... James, look, yeah, again, yeah. Where are we? So James is saying asteroids don't fly straight. It's called Yarkovsky effect. So no way they can predict a miss. James, I agree 100% with you, buddy. That, like, look, the asteroid could speed up. It could slow down. It could get hit by another asteroid. So many things that could happen to this asteroid. To say that there is a zero chance that it's going to hit Earth when it's coming so close, it's ridiculous, guys. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yep, J. Friday the 13th does not sound good. So if you guys are watching, in fact, guys, I guess we are on. We're on now. I've been talking for 41 minutes. Can you do me the favors? Hit me the buttons. If you're watching on TikTok, the buttons are up there. The follow, the like, all those buttons that help this channel grow. The like, follow, subscribe. We are also double streaming. We are on YouTube as well. I need to go over and get the YouTube comments, actually, because I've just been swizzling. I've totally forgot about them. But I'll jump over and get the YouTube comments in a minute, because in my haste, talking about asteroids, triggering myself, talking about Manchester Airport, in my haste, talking about sabotage in the United Kingdom. You know, I forgot you fantastic, beautiful people on YouTube. But, you know, as Jay Pooch is saying there, Friday the 13th is not good. Oh, test user is saying, why are there loads of barriers in Westminster right now? Usually they put barriers up when there's a high threat state. But I would say it's got something to do with what's his name? Macron visiting. Right. Just as a precaution. Right, let me jump up again. Right, loads of comments on YouTube. Chloe White is saying, excuse me. Have you seen Rupert Lowe's new movement, Restore Britain? Yes, I have. I have indeed, yes. I will come on to politics in a minute, guys. I will come on to politics. But remember, we have not got another election until 2029. And if this asteroid hits, we're probably not going to have an election either. Can you imagine can you imagine Keir Starmer trying to deal with an asteroid? Can you imagine? Like, this government, can you imagine now, guys, right? Like, imagine right now, I don't know, this asteroid that's heading towards Earth, it changes trajectory or whatever, and it's gonna hit Earth. And can you imagine, like, our top team now that we've got? Can you imagine the leadership skills that they've got? Matt is saying, hi, mate. I'm saying hi back. Cryptic Demon is saying, all right, mate, most think I'm crazy, but they believe what they're being told. Hope you're doing well, though. I am indeed. Do you believe Russians will attack to do that? Okay, so we answered that one on TikTok. Look, guys, I will answer this one again. So Cryptic Demon on YouTube, he's talking about, like, a potential Russian attack on Europe. Still, I think it's unlikely at the moment. They need to make more ground in Ukraine. If anywhere, there's two places really. There's the Suwalki corridor that would then give the Russians through Belarus a direct access to the Baltics, to Baltic Sea. Also, there is the potential airfields in Poland. So there are the two places. And of those two, I would favour that Poland would be the one to get swizzled. Matt is saying, BBC says Wagner Group was in charge of sabotage the factory in the United Kingdom. Yeah, we spoke about that earlier, guys, okay? We spoke about that earlier. Remember back last year when all these factories were going up and I was saying, look, guys, I can't confirm anything, but these are suspicious fires. I want to know what's in those fires. Well, what's in those fires? What's in those storage depots? Well, it turns out there were a load of Starlink dishes that were destined for Ukraine. Luke Jacobs is saying, reading The Guardian, Monzo Bank fined 21... So Luke Jacobs is saying, read in The Guardian that Monzo Bank fined 21 million after customers used number 10 and Buckingham Palace as addresses. Yeah, there was a thing that was getting passed around. It was like, it was the Queen's private number. And I got a text message from my mate and it said, Sean, I'm in a bit of trouble, mate. can you phone this number and ask for Big Liz? She'll help you out. So I phoned this number. Obviously, the line had been disconnected or whatever, and it was like the royal household or something, and it was asking me to ask for Big Liz. Right, guys, I'm going to jump down. Macron is saying UK and France risk growing apart. Look, guys, for me, that's not really a bad thing. Give councils more powers to raise taxes, suggests Angela Rayner. And Wagner arson ringleader tried to forge ties with the IRA. All these things are bonkers, guys. You know, in any, like we have right now in the United Kingdom, like I've said this so many times, it's gonna have to be a new, hang on. You know, it's going to have to be a new dynamic because, like, these sabotage things that are happening now, it's not me speculating, you know, I'm not speculating that these things are happening. They are actually happening. The BBC is reporting on them, you know, so there's going to have to be a new name for these because these saboteurs, what's their names? Hang on, where are their names? I'll give you these names again, guys. They just look like little kids. You know, I don't know if you guys have seen that. You know, I don't know if you guys have seen the images of these kids on Sky News. So the three men, I mean, they're calling them men. They don't look like men to me. They look like kids. So these three kids, Ni Mensa, Jakim Rose, or Rose, I guess you could call him, and Ugnis Asmena. So they're the three people who've been charged with the act of sabotage. Now, looking at them, they just look like kids. I would bet a lot of money that these gentlemen are not trained operatives. I would say that they are not highly trained operatives. I would say these are just kids wanting to earn a couple of quid and not caring what they do. And like, this is the direction that we're going. Like, you're not going to spend, you're not going to send your best, I don't know. What's a Russian watch? I don't know what a Russian watch is. You're not going to send your best spies to the United Kingdom to do these acts of, like, whatever you want to call it. You're literally just going to pay people. You are literally just going to pay people to do this. And that's what I feel is happening right now, guys, okay? I feel we've been infiltrated by people who don't follow. Like, I've lived in this country all my life, and if somebody asked me, he says, Sean, I'll give you like X amount of £1,000 to go and do this, I'd be like, no, but I'll take your name and number and I'll get back to you. And then I'd like phone the police and get them done. What we can see now is in the United Kingdom, we have masses of people in the United Kingdom who I would say do not identify with British culture. They don't want to be part of British culture. Oh, Lisu is saying, what have I missed, Lisu? We've been talking about all sorts. We have been talking about 3 men found guilty of sabotage in the United Kingdom, as I said it was. We have been talking about asteroids heading towards Earth. We've been talking about the Manchester attackers that are absolutely bonkers. You know, I can't believe that these guys are... Oh, hang on. So James is saying the asteroid. Look, guys, I don't know what. So James is saying. The asteroid won't destroy Earth, just 1/3. That's why militaries around the world are a threat. I think he means like fighting with each other. Musa Kamu is saying there is over 6,000 satellites up in space around the Earth. Why don't we see any when they show space, the space station? So, guys, look, 6,000 satellites around Earth. It's not many. There's a lot of space, guys. There's a lot of. It's big. It's space. You know, not only are they. not only are they at different altitudes, not only are they at different altitudes, they're traveling ridiculously quick. They're traveling ridiculously quick. So, a satellite would travel anything from, depending on its altitude, maybe like 9 to 11 kilometers a second. So there's lots of reasons why you wouldn't see a satellite when you're watching images of the space station. And again, I would say that the space station has its own dedicated orbit, whereby the space station's going like this. Nobody's allowed near it. So that's kind of what I would say is happening. Right, I'm going to jump down again, guys. Quite a lot of comments jumping up. Let me get these. Kevin Brown is saying, did you see Trump was not happy with Putin? I did, but my response to that, if I was Vladimir Putin, and I'm certainly not, if I was Vladimir Putin and Trump wasn't happy with me, like, you can imagine it, can't you? He was in the Kremlin, so he's in the Kremlin. You've got Medvedev there, and you've got Sergei Lavrov, and Sergei Lavrov saying, Vladimir, do you know that Donald Trump is very unhappy with you? And then Vladimir Putin says, and so what? What's he going to do? I'm richest man in world. I do what I want. I'm rich. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna affect. I don't think Vladimir Putin's gonna lose any sleep over it. Right, let me jump and get these guys. So guys, look, if you've not been watching this, sorry, I totally went off on a topic. I just remembered I didn't say it. I went off on a tangent a bit earlier on before. Somebody tagged me in a comment earlier, guys. Okay, somebody tagged me in a comment earlier. And I can't remember what the comment was, but it was basically the footage of the alleged assault of the police officers in Manchester Airport. The comments underneath were absolutely diabolical, guys. People were like, look, guys, and this was from, I don't even know if I can say this. I don't even know if I can say this on the live stream. Some people were saying, well, they were saying it, right, but I'm going to say it, guys. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying this or not. People were saying on the comments things like, do not mess with our certain religion. This is what you get. They were basically really, really positive for the attackers. And some of the people were saying this is nothing yet. Things like, imagine 1,000 of these people. Like, the police have no idea. And they were basically being very threatening about this. Now, again, listen, guys, I do realize a lot of these comments will be by nerdy teenagers in the basement of their house. But the sentiment is there, guys. The sentiment is there. And as we move forwards through time, this trial is going to be so diverse. If these guys get a long sentence in prison, how do you think a certain demographic is going to react? If they get no prison time, how do you think another demographic is going to react? So we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. Right now, guys, it doesn't look like it's going anywhere good at the moment. And look, guys, watching the footage of these guys, it's unbelievable. And I don't know if you guys are joining for the first time, but the defense, hang on, let me get down to the day because it's quite funny. So the defense is hinging that the police used unlawful force because there were 3 people went to make the arrest. Because 3 people went to make the arrest of the violent attacker. Because 3 people went to make that arrest. That was using excessive force. And it gave Mr. Mohammed Ammaz the right to defend himself. Wow. I don't know. Maybe that's a fair defense, guys. Maybe that's a fair defense. Maybe that's a fair defense, and maybe the jury think, oh yeah, do you know what? Yeah, they shouldn't have sent three police officers in to arrest him. It's unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Right, let me jump there. I'll come down. Right, Cams is saying, hello, Cams is saying, what's happening? Stephen is saying, please, hang on. Right, let me pin this and I will look at this. Right, guys, listen, I've got the chat open, so I do apologise if I'm missing anyone's comments. I'm genuinely not meaning to miss anybody's comments. It's just there's a lot of comments on TikTok, and it's very difficult for me to get all the comments. I keep having to jump down. But Sean, please look up Wonderland Water Park. Let me have a look at this. In Canada, is that what we're talking about? Wonderland Water Park in Canada. Is that what we're talking about? Wonderland Water Park in Canada. Is that the one? Stephen, is that the one we're talking about? Wonderland Water Park in Canada. I'm only getting articles from 2014, but if you let me know. Oh, yes, right, okay. Right, let me. Okay, Wonderland pool full of Indians. Explore the vibrant Wonderland experience and dazzling pools in Punjab. Must see waters. Right, okay. Is that what we're talking about? Lots of immigrants overtaking the water park. Are you from Canada, Stephen? Are you from Canada, Stephen? If you're from Canada, Stephen, like these things have been happening in the United. So Stephen's upset. Stephen's upset that there's been like immigrants taking over a water park. Buddy, if you come to the United Kingdom, there are all sorts of crazy stuff like that in the United Kingdom. But I think Stephen's got it. For the first time, maybe. Right, let me jump up and get some of these comments. We've done that one. Sandy123 said, I don't think so. Police doing their job, protecting the public and maintaining a lawful behaviour. Yeah, I agree, Sandy. Look, guys, like so many times I come out like I would love a strong police force, even one that's a little bit feared. Do you know what? I'm going to throw it out there, guys. I want a police force that's feared and respected. I do. Better to be feared than respected. Better to be feared than, what's it word? Better to be feared than revered. Better to be feared than revered. So for me, this is my opinion, so don't get me done. Don't shout at me. I would prefer it if our police force were a little bit scary. I would, guys. I would prefer it, if our police force were a little bit scary and when they turned up, people shut up. I would prefer that. I would. Because at the moment, we don't have that. We don't have any respect for our police force. I mean, you see people in the streets arguing with the police. Like, honestly, I've worked in some places around the world, and, like, these people arguing with the police, they would get, Things would happen differently to them, guys, in different countries, not least Texas, not least Ukraine, not least, the Middle East. Right, I'm just going to jump down again. Remix Madness is saying the UK needs saving. Hang on. UK Madness says the UK needs saving. Look, I don't think it does. I'm happy to let the UK go to pot. I want to move to Antarctica and start a brave new world. And Schnibbies is saying right-wingers want a police state. Look, guys, I'll go both ways. I'm more than happy. I'm more than happy to have no police. I'm more than happy to have no rule of law. Do you know why? because I will go from flash to bang, from zero to apocalyptic warlord, wearing my full leather outfit, leather jacket with the arms cut off. It's so confusing because it's like, am I hot? Am I cold? I don't even know. You know, I will go full apocalyptic warlord from 0 to 10. I mean, as soon as that breakdown of society happens, I've talked to Sarah about it. I've said, Sarah, look, you know, I love you, but like, as soon as this warlord stuff happens, I am going straight into full warlord mode. And you know, all you little liberals who want, like, you know, who are there waving your flags, and you know, you've got all your little things. Guess who's going to be the warlord? Guess who's going to have like the massive, biggest army? I'll just come and take everything. I'd be the king of England within like what? 9 days or something. I would, guys. I would like, and this is what people don't understand. A lot of these people who class themselves as liberals, they have no idea. They have no idea how much they rely on the law. They've got no how much they rely and need liberal Western democracy. But look, guys, you know, if you want to go the other way, I'm totally happy with that. You know, I'm totally happy with no law, total anarchy. And then do you know what'll happen? Do you know what'll happen to people like little shibbies here? Shibbies? Little shibbies will be saying, oh, we need somebody to protect us. Oh, we need somebody to protect us. And then me and my warlord buddies, you know, me and my warlord buddies will just come in and go, yeah, we're the apocalyptic warlords. And I'll say to little snibbies here, I'll say, snibbies, got an idea. Why don't you pay me a bit of money every week and I'll make sure you're protected? And little snibbies will be going, oh, yes, please. But don't wave them flags because, you know, I might not protect you if you wave them flags. I don't know. Look, that's how it goes. People have honestly, you know, these, I saw some protesters the other day. They were like little, like, they were small, but slightly built men, very slightly built men, with long hair, longer than mine. I do realize. And my hair at the moment, guys, all right, it's at that stage. I get this stage every couple of months, and I'm like, right, do I cut my hair or do I grow it like Aragorn? And every month I think, right, it only needs to be there, and then I'm full Aragorn. I don't know, maybe I should save that from the, oh, hang on. So, Snibs is saying, does your leather jacket stop a plunging? I don't know, Snibbits. Listen, I'm not gay myself. If you're gay, I'm totally happy with that. But I'm not really up for a plunging. But I'll go with you, buddy. I respect you. But no, I'm not in for a plunging, mate. And the leather jacket, I don't know. Maybe it'd stop a plunging. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. Anyway, where was I going? Yeah. So I totally forgot where I was going. Guys, somebody tell me what I was talking about. Googly is saying, oh yeah, so Sergeant Gunnery, you reminded me. Right, I will come on to the YouTube in a minute. So Sergeant Gunnery is saying they have no idea how much they really rely on law. I'm with Sean, back to back. We can take them. So I was watching this. I was watching a protest. I can't remember where it was, and there was this like slightly built man. You know, this slightly built man with long hair, and he was shouting. And I was thinking, if it was the apocalypse, like this guy who's shouting and getting angry and he's getting really aggressive, like, guys, I'm not trying to like sell myself like as some like ninja or anything, because I'm not. I would class myself more as like a John Wick person when I get those things in my hands, when I get those tools in my hands. But like, even with my limited skills, like this guy who's getting all aggressive, like if I was walking to neutralize that person, like it wouldn't even slow me down. And they're hiding behind the police, and they're like, you. Like, just let the police go. Let them deal with it, please, because it only ends one way. Right, Google it. I will come on to YouTube. Right. Oh, hang on. Right, okay, so I've got a some comments here from YouTube, guys. Let me just read through these a second. Hang on. Right. So Google it is saying Russian use of chemical weapons in Ukraine is widespread and growing. European intelligence warns. Now, my understanding of this, guys, is the chemical weapons that are being used is CS gas, which is, I think it's illegal to drop CS gas from a helicopter. But again, illegal by who's, like, who? Illegal to who? Like, where's, like, illegal in whose eyes? The current total fatality stand at 87. Oh, right, okay, sorry, so I was wrong there. Right, the current total... Right, hang on. Hang on, guys. I'm just trying to put something together here in real time. Right. Articles removed. Right. Yeah. Right, guys. Yeah. Right, guys. There's some things that are a little bit choice, and I probably can't talk about them on TikTok. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over now, guys. I'm going to go over to YouTube because there's some things that are difficult to talk about, and I would get the, live, potentially restricted or banned. So I don't want to I don't want to do that. But we're talking about things on here like the Southport incident, basically the Southport event for TikTok, and we'll talk about that more on YouTube when we jump over. Right, James is saying, will UK descend into civil war, or will we write an angry message and text each other? I mean, honestly, James, I think if it doesn't come this year, I struggle to see when it is going to come. I think we're going to see the start of it this year. Jay Pooch is saying illegal in a war. Look, like, this is what, like, illegal by, people say, oh, it's a war crime. Like, a war crime against who? Like, surely going into a country and transcending a lot of their people into beamers of light, surely, like, that is a crime in itself. And then, like, again, who a crime in who? Like, what do we mean a crime? Where's the court that deals with it? Where's the police that go and investigate these crimes? So, like, I don't really understand I get what people mean by, like, but they say things like an illegal invasion. Tell me when an invasion wasn't illegal. Like, all invasions are illegal. What would actually happen if we didn't have a police force? Well, there'd be anarchy for a while, and then people would naturally form their own police forces, guys. And this is just the problem with it. People would naturally form their own police forces, and they would be called warlords at first. Over time, they'll get more sophisticated, and that's where we are. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go over to YouTube now. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you for all the gifts, guys. It feels like I got a lot of gifts tonight. I did. Thank you guys so much. So I'm going to jump over to YouTube now, guys. Remember, throw me... You have become jaundice, Mr. Arjon. No, I haven't become jaundice. It's just a light. Yeah, guys, sorry, I'm going to jump over onto YouTube now. Show your support on YouTube, on TikTok, obviously, and on X as well. I'll see you guys in the morning, and if I don't, I'll see you through the window. Oh, hang on, I had something to say. No, it's totally gone, guys. Totally gone. Totally missed it. But I will be off, guys. I'll be back. Yes, that's it. I'll be back on tomorrow at 10 in the morning. Don't be late. We are off. We are off. We are off. Right. So I'm going to get up these guys. There's a few things that I obviously can't talk about. You know. Right. Google it. Freddie. Sorry, it's Freddie on here. Right. Okay. Right, Google. I'm looking at them now. Right, I'm going through Googly's articles here. We spoke about that. Troop deployment plans abandoned in latest coalition of the willing talks. Oh, let me get this. Let me get this. This is interesting. Well, that's interesting. Troop deployment plans abandoned in latest coalition of the willing talks. European leaders will instead discuss plans for increased ammunition supplies. Britain and Europe have sidelined Britain and Europe have sidelined plans to deploy thousands of troops to Ukraine because Donald Trump's attempts to negotiate an end to the war have failed. So what I see here, guys, is a few countries actually putting their troops on the ground. If you guys remember the war in Iraq, there was only 4 countries. There was only 4 countries who went. The 2003 invasion of Iraq. Sorry, there was only 4 countries in that invasion. America, Britain. I want to say Canada. But it might not be. It might be, and Poland. I'll fact check that in a minute. But there's only 4 countries. After a couple of years, every man and his dog wanted in on it. Everybody was in. Everybody was helping. Everybody was doing stuff out there. So what I see happening is a similar direction, led by Britain with France, Poland, and the Baltics. That's kind of what I see the main force. Like, what are the Italians going to contribute, guys? Like coffee? I think, what are the Spanish going to do? Like they're dancing or something? So I do still think this is going to happen, guys. You know, but what we do know now is that Britain is taking the lead and Britain are pushing this forward. Right. Israeli humanitarian city. Humanitarian city paves way for Trump's Riviera plans. Right, let me jump down. Yeah, you did. You've sent loads, Google. There's loads on there. Lisa Jane is saying good evening. Sorry, I'm late. Don't worry about it, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry about being late because you know why? All these videos are uploaded, and we can go back and watch whatever we want, and we can rewind it. We can do all sorts of stuff now. They're uploaded to the fantastic realms of the internet. Oh, guys, right. You know my mum. Right. Guys, this is God's honest truth, right? Like, my life at the moment is like living in a Peter Kay sketch, right? So my mum, you know how she was my mum's trying to get a pellet gun or something? And I'm like, Mum, like, no, it's ridiculous. Don't get yourself a pellet gun. It's ridiculous. Like, when are you... Anyway. So she phoned me up like this today. After I did the live stream earlier on, about 1 o'clock, she phoned me up. She says, Sean. I said, what? She says, I've been down and got one. I said, what have you bought? She says, we've bought like a little air pistol. I said, what do you mean? She says, yeah, we've bought a little air pistol and you put these little gas canisters in and you can shoot 20 times. I said, will it go through a piece of paper? She said, what do you mean? I said, well, have you like actually used it and shot at something? Guys, listen, if you're watching and you're not in the UK, we do not have any firearms license. Like you can get firearms licenses in the United Kingdom, but it's a lot more difficult to get those licenses than it is in the United States. And we are not in the United Kingdom, and I agree with this actually. We are not allowed to have weapons for self-defense, and by no means are we allowed to form a militia to oppose government tyranny. Anyway, so my mum's phoned me up and she says she's got this little air pistol now. And I said, well, have you tried it on anything? And she says, what do you mean? I said, well, what's he gonna like? How is it gonna like? How is it gonna like? How much like power has it got in it? Like, I don't know. And she said, well, no, we've not took it out of the box yet. I said, well, you're going to have to take it out of the box, aren't you? And like use it and figure out how it's going to work. She says, oh, yeah, I will do. I said, well, why don't you go down to Morrison's, get a chicken and just see how far it goes in? She says, yeah, I will do. Anyway, so my mum tomorrow, she's getting a chicken. She's going into the woods somewhere with a little pistol, and she's going to shoot a chicken. She's going to like she's going to have a crack off with a chicken. I don't know the outcome of this, guys, but it is what it is. You know, this is what I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Anyway, Sean. So let me pin this. Sean, you said there was no peace to be made. I think they don't see peace anytime soon, which is why they disbanded their plans for boots on the ground. Yeah, there's absolutely no chance in like the situation in Ukraine, guys. Let me get the map up. Actually, let me get the map up and I'll show you guys. Give me a second. I'll get the map up. Where are we? There we are. Right. Give me a second, guys, because I have to get it up, and then it asks me if I want to buy a coffee. And I'll click that. No. Right. Let me share this a second. Right. So when we're talking about like Ukraine and the situation the crazy situation that we have over there at the moment. So I'll just give you a quick walk around. So obviously where my cursor is now, guys, you've got like Ukraine here. And then the red bit here, this denotes the occupied territory. And then this, obviously this line here, that would be the 2013 country borders. Obviously, Crimea was annexed and all this region has been annexed. Now, how do I zoom in? Try and do that. Oh, there we go. Right. Hang on. I think I don't know how to zoom out, guys. I don't usually do it on this computer. But if you see this river here, this river is huge. This is the River Dnipro. Now, this river is literally bisects the country. I know how to zoom out. So this river, guys, it comes from Belarus. It goes through Kiev, through Kremenchuk, through Dnipro, through Zaporizhia, and down onto the what's that, the Black Sea or something. So that is like a massive obstacle barrier when the Russians are thinking about moving. Now, let me zoom in. So I don't see any realistic peace negotiations or anything until the Russians have got at least like here taken control of Dnipro, control of Zaporizhia. So Dnipro has a lot of heavy industry in it. There's a lot of heavy steel, heavy manufacturing in Dnipro. And Zaporizhia has, I think it might be the world's biggest nuclear power plant. It's certainly a big nuclear power plant. So they're the two things that, that would want to be taken in this military operation. Otherwise, why do you want this land? You're not really achieving much by taking this land. And that river, the River Dnipro, it acts as a natural barrier because it's very difficult to move tanks over rivers without a bridge. So that would stop a lot of the Russian advances, and it would also stop a lot of the Ukrainian advances going the other way. So it works both ways. So I don't see any realistic peace deals or peace negotiations or anybody entering any sort of negotiations until the Russians are up to that River Dnipro. It just makes absolutely no sense, guys, strategically. Incidentally, guys, there's a hotel in Kiev on the River Dnipro, called the Dnipro Hotel, and it's claimed that the Dnipro Hotel serves the best chicken Kiev in Kiev. By de facto, it must be the best chicken Kiev in the world. And I used to frequent there, guys, so I do know how a good chicken Kiev should taste. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Zoe Dean, right, guys, listen, everybody's right. Look, I mean, the fact that we're having this conversation, at all, and I said this to my mum, we've got the roof tent on the car now, we've got the extended fuel tank, so we can pretty much get anywhere in the UK. The fact that people are having these conversations now soberly, not talking about zombie apocalypse, kind of says a lot more than what they're saying. If you know what I mean, guys. Okay, the fact that we're having these conversations says more than the conversations themselves. People are talking about this now openly. But look, guys, I will be quite clear, and I'll say exactly what I say to everybody before. If you live in the United Kingdom, buying anything that you perceive for self-defense is a waste of money. Spend your money on food, spend your money on fuel. If you've got a bit of extra money, buy run flats for your car. Make sure you've got a vehicle to get you places. There's no point in having there's no point, guys, right? They're more hassle than they're worth. King charges hosts banquet at Windsor Castle. They must all be sweating in their suits, boots, crowns, and yeah, I mean, we was watching this earlier. I was at my friend's house and we was watching this. And we were saying, look at this pomp and pageantry. You've got all these people pumping around on horsebacks and walking up to the Winston Churchill, statue, and I was just saying, look, these people live in a parallel universe. They live in a parallel universe. They have no idea. Like, honestly, I would like to take the king for a walk around Sheffield, like put him a mask on or something and a baseball cap and some chap clothes, and walk around Sheffield city centre with me. Tell me what you think. Tell me what your thoughts are about that, and just ask him, what do you think, King? Do you think this is working? Do you think that what all those chavs over there that look like they're gonna break out and do like breakdancing or something? Like, what have they all got in common? It's certainly not the English language. Right, guys, listen, I'm going to close this down now. As always, you guys are fantastic. If you're on, you've got to the end, or you're just watching for the first time and you've not done so already, hit those buttons down below, the like, the follow, the subscribe, bell notification, all those things that help this channel grow. I will be back on tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, at 10 a.m. Look, I am going to keep an eye on what's happening with these Manchester attackers. Do me a favor, actually, guys. Do me a favor. Guys, can you do me a favor? Find a thread on X, on YouTube, on TikTok, wherever. Find a thread about these Manchester attackers and look at the comments. And if that doesn't terrify you, I don't know what will. And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to bed. Good night. Oh, hang on. Linda Clark says, my kids think I've gone senile. They just don't believe me and they think I've lost the plot. No, you've not lost the plot. Do you know what? Do you know what, Linda Clark? You have not lost the plot. Look, people that even my friends now, who last year they called me crazy. Now they're saying, Sean, how much water have you got stored? People understand what's coming. So no, Linda, you're not crazy. You're ahead of the curve. And on that bombshell, I am going to be bye for sleeping on ice.